Hey guys, it's me, and welcome back to another MSR Workbench. It's a quick and easy one today, and it's on my favorite character of all time. This is the MSR's number 2, Stanley. Now, we all know Stanley, we all love him, and I don't really have a whole lot to say about him at this point. We all know the story by this point. He was rude, reckless, derailed, he got turned to a pumping engine, probably died in the mine, but hey, we don't talk about that. Ever since Bachman made their 009 Baldwin, people have been making Stanley's left, right, and center. Every single one of them look amazing. What you probably didn't know though is I actually already had a Stanley model made. It was this one right here. It was painted in this like gray livery that I really liked. It was inspired by this 3D model here. And while I did like it at the time, when I was starting to make my new models, I was a bit disappointed in it. And when this model broke down and the valve gear snapped, I decided to just call it quits, get a new one, and make my own model of Stanley. So here he is right here. I managed to find a really good deal for a black 590 online, and when I got the model, I proceeded to take off all the brass screws and the 2 black screws that were holding in the cab. I also made sure to take off the proper pipework to make sure that none of the pipes broke off when I was taking off the body. After taking off the tanks, there are 2 more screws that need to be unscrewed in order to take off the cab and this rear dome. Originally, I wasn't even going to do this step because I was just going to take the decals off with some microsol, but they didn't want to come off, so I did have to separate the body from the chassis in order to paint them all separately. I painted the model in a Rust-Oleum black primer, masking up the whistle and the safety valves along with the cab to make sure that none of the parts that I didn't want painted were oversprayed. The chassis was also masked up and the buffer beams were painted in Rust-Oleum red. The name and number went on next. These were the same decals for Tim and Albert. I think these are N-scale Burlington coach ones. I'm not too sure on that, don't quote me on that, but the decals went on, actually using microsol and microset this time, so this finish was a whole lot better. After locking the decals down with some matte finish, I then weathered the model. Just some weathering powders this time, nothing too crazy, but I did want a very, very worn look on Stanley. And that's it, Stanley's done. Probably the most simple model that I could possibly ever make. After the whole filling process was done, I weathered down the buffer beam, I repainted the smoke box, and I repainted the roof. But after all that's done, he's completely finished. All done. It's great to see a model of Stanley where I'm legitimately happy on how he turned out. Honestly, there's nothing really much to say about this model. He's just a repainted Bachman 1012D. So I'm sorry there's not a whole lot of filming or information about this guy, but it's Stanley. He's cool. It is what it is, really. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video of the process of making Stanley. I'm really proud of how he turned out. And I do have some more projects and a big announcement that I want to make at the end of the year. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys for watching and see you on the next one.